certainly looked like he's starting to get some signs of that.
Well, let's hope he gets another good start because he nearly he hole shot that last one. Oh, big crash!
That was a very, very big crash. Riders have gone everywhere. Cody Cooper is down with a broken wrist. I do believe he's holding one arm. No, he is... There's one of the CDR Noki Yamaha boys that's in a world of pain. Is that Daryl King? As they pick the bike, that's Matt Moss. That's Matty Moss that's lying down. And Daryl King is back up on the bike and he is okay. That's Matt Moss that is... It looked to me like Matt was clutching his leg. A bunch of riders have gone down. That started from the far inside. Two riders clipped handlebars and one rider went rocketing into the middle of the park, sending everyone flying.
Well, that was a big scary crash lead, but it looks like Matty Moss riding things to his feet at the moment and just checking him out, so hopefully he's okay. It's a very scary crash right there. We're going to go back to our leaders. And, it was Jay Marmont that was actually in the lead. Matty Moss now up to his feet, so that's good to see. That's terrible luck. Matty Moss was so fast in that first race. It would have been great to see him out there once again. But our leader this race around, once again actually, is Jay Marmont. He had a great start in the first race, and now he's in the lead in the second.
Daryl Hurley from Daniel Reardon, Hamish. So these are the three main guys, and Troy Carroll back there, who we know can ride fast. Let's see what these guys have got for us.
Well, there goes Reardon up the inside of Hurley. Not close enough though. Reardon with a different line around the outside. And did you see the speed of that? Oh my God, two riders in one corner through a rut. That just shows why this guy is so fast and so far ahead in this championship. I've never seen that, Lee Hogan.
That rut was unbelievable. He nearly dragged his handlebars on the ground through there.
If you're out there and you didn't see that, you missed out on one of the great moments of motocross for this year. Daniel Reardon has now put himself into the lead and is starting to check out from the rest of these guys already in four corners. Marmont still holds down second place, and Hurley fighting that Suzuki around the track at the moment in third. Troy Carroll also with a great start in fourth.
I still cannot get over the corner speed of that outside run. Around the outside of Daryl Hurley, around the outside of Jay Marmont in one corner.
I was just about to say as he went into it, that's stupid, there's no way you were going to get around there. He made a fool of us all.
No, just you, because I wasn't even thinking that.
Come on, don't worry, Hogan. You thought exactly the same thing as me. There was no way. That was incredible. Now let's worry about the rest of the race.
Daniel Reardon up over the big tabletop. Huge height from Daryl Hurley as he jumps off the side of the track.
He's going for X Games Gold. High jump award right there. Daryl Hurley almost hits the tyres as he landed two off the side.
We used to call that the Hurley Air back when he was riding for Dakar and riding for on Supercross. He used to get higher than anyone. He'd get that front wheel right down through the air, and we'd call it the Hurley Air. But he doesn't do that anymore. He hasn't done it for a long time. So I don't think we'll call that the Hurley Air. I just think we'll call that a mistake.
Put it down to a mistake this time around, but only this time around. Here's our second place, Jay Marmont. Let's see if he can hold up his second place this time around. He faded a long way back in the first photo. It wasn't what we used to see with Jay Marmont. He's in great position at the moment to stay there, but he's really going to have to work with it if he wants to stay in front of Daryl Hurley.
Great start from Brent Landman and his good friend, Kate Mosick. We got Bocker up there in sixth place. Go Brent, Bocker big.
Here comes Cody Cody Cooper on the Honda bike, 5 across the finish line. I was almost going to say off the start, Cody Cooper has got himself a whole shot. He was right there going into the first corner, but he also got involved with that big crash. So he's back quite a fair way and a lot of work ahead of him. Poor Dale, though, this time around has stayed upright. He's starting to make his way through the pack.
And just for everyone wanting a little bit of a heads up on the place getters at the moment, of course, Daniel Reardon from Jay Marmont and Daryl Hurley, your top 3. Troy Carroll and then Nathan Crawford. Great ride from him, rounding out the top 5. Brent Landman, his first ride back from injury, top 6. Fitness could play a part for him, we'll have to wait and see. Ahead of Cade Moses, much better this time around. Dean Porter, Justin Carafa in the top 10, and Jeremy McKnight also. So a lot of guys there, as you would imagine, with a lot of our key players going down in that first corner. A lot of riders up there that we're not used to seeing in the top 10.
We'll have a look at Daniel Reardon. He is not checking out like he does in every other round. He is pulling the lead on these guys, but usually it's 3 seconds a lap. And he's just not doing it this time. These guys in second and third are running great pace at the moment. Hurley is desperate. He really wants to get around Jay Marmont. He needs to find something different here. Maybe he should be using the line that Mitchell Hogue used earlier on as they go over the finish line again. Hurley had problems also the first race with running out of roll-offs or tear-offs, whatever system he's using. And while he's sitting there behind Jay Marmont, he's using more and more. So that could become an issue later on in this race.
Nathan Crawford has had a big crash in front of us here, in front of the finish line tabletop, and he is tough as nails. He's got to be weighing in at about 90 plus kilo, and he is all muscle, let me tell you.
Yeah, that was a big crash. He got spat off the bike quite hard into the ground. It's great to see he's back up straight away, but as you said, he is tough. He just gave the flag marshal a little nod. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just a little bit. Well, we focus our attention back over the tail. We'll probably wait for our leader, Daniel Reardon, to come around. Nathan Crawford was calling it quits after this race. He's had enough. Private senior rider on the double O bike had a great result last time around. Unfortunate for this one. Marmont, early battle, still racing out there, second and third. Hurley trying everything to get around him. All different lines, but this track seems to be very limited to what you can do as a go across the start line. He really needs to do something on the plate to try and get around.
Something that surprises me a bit, Hammy, is none of these guys have either been told by their mechanics or spotted it themselves. This line here that Mitchell Hogue found coming after the finish line. If they had found it, they'd be taking it.
Absolutely, it's a very fast line indeed. Instead, they both just use the same line through the centre. Hurley now tries for a different line, but lost a lot of ground in doing so. He's got a nice smooth line there, but he needs to do something different, something that's going to carry some momentum if he wants to get around the likes of Jay Marmont.
Quite possibly a reason why we're not seeing the usual lap time speed. Well, nice line from Daryl Hurley.
I think that might have been a mixture of Hurley finding a good line and Marmont making a bit of a mistake coming out of that corner there. Hurley now gets into second place. Now it's interesting, as we said, Daniel Reardon hasn't really checked out from these guys. I wonder what Daryl Hurley can do this time around, whether he can close that gap in at all.
Well, Cody Cooper continues to charge up through the pack, doing a good job. Now, the yellow flag was just momentarily out on that backside of the circuit. Couldn't make out who it was, but they've pulled it back in now. So, nothing too serious to worry about. Daryl Hurley did exactly the same thing, jumping off the side of the track on that big tabletop.
Yeah, that's a strange line, and considering that he went off early, you would have thought he might have changed it there. But he's putting himself in a vulnerable position to make a mistake. Or even have a big crash like Jake Moss did a little earlier on.
Big moment from Daniel Reardon there. One leg completely off the bike, and he is not looking as smooth as we are used to seeing him. Darryl Hurley is reeling him in a little bit.
It will be interesting to see as they come across this time around.
Interesting to note, when I interviewed Daniel Reardon earlier on in that first moto, he said, well, I've just spent the last week and a half riding Supercross every day. So that might play a part in the last half of this race.
Possibly, but I'm going to say maybe not, with the fitness and everything that Daniel Reardon carries with him at the moment, and the speed and technique he's had in motocross all year long. I really don't think it should be too big an issue for him.
That line that Darryl Hurley just took through there and up and that straight exiting our commentary box area, he is hooking in. I'm going to make a little bit of a bold prediction here and say that I think Darryl Hurley is going to chip away at that lead.
Chip away at it, yes. Catch it up to completely, probably not. It may be a first time being so rough and quite easy to make mistakes. This may be the first time that we've seen Daniel Reardon start to slow down and think about the rest of the track. Well, here we go. There's Daniel Reardon once again starting to...
As we see Daryl King, DK is pulled off the side of the track. He's heading back to the pits, and that is no doubt a shoulder problem for Daryl King. Let's hope he's okay. That's the last that we'll see of Daryl here today.
Well, here's Daniel Reardon.
Oh, another mistake from Daniel Reardon coming up over the finish line area.
Right, so that's 7 seconds difference last time around for Darryl Hurley and Daniel Reardon. We'll have to wait for our computers to catch up here. He's made only 1/10 this time around, so really not enough to even think about worrying at all. Daniel Reardon still has plenty of time, but if he keeps making little mistakes like that, he might put himself into a position where it might become a big mistake and Hurley might be able to close right in.
Well, I think it would just be inspiring for Darryl Hurley to put in a good ride where he cannot see Daniel Reardon just check out in the distance, you know, just to maybe reel him in a little bit. It's not going to be any detriment to Daniel Reardon. He certainly won't lose any confidence in the long run. I think it'll do Hurls the world of good.
For sure it will. He needs a little bit of confidence on inside right now. We know how fast he can be. Troy Carroll still manages to hold down fourth, and then back to Mosey in fifth, and then Brent Lambert and a great race back there in sixth place.
Well, Cody Cooper on the back of that pack there. He'll be the one making a charge very soon.
Lee Ellis also in the middle of that little pack we were just talking about, having another good ride. Behind that pack is Ward Dale on the 41 bike. The bad luck in the first race, we believe it might have been a radiator hose or something quite simple like that. It came off, we're not too sure. But before blowing the bike up, they just stopped the bike and saved it for the next race. We'll look around for our leaders. Should be coming over the tabletop here near the finish line. Still looking comfortable. Last couple of laps around here, he has slid out and made a small mistake. He's learned from it this time around. So there's Daniel Reardon another lap down. We are only 12 minutes into this race. There's still quite a long way to go. Here is Darryl Hurley. 8 seconds now, 8.5, so half a second loss, just over half a second loss to Reardon that time around.
It looks like, as you said, Handy, Daniel Reardon has found his rhythm a little bit now, and he pulled out an extra half a second that time through.
He's starting to find a lot of scooter lines around the outside, 2 different lines though, all the time. Hurley's on one side of the track, Reardon's on the other, but they are finding some good lines.
Joe Marmont, much better ride this time. Yes, he has dropped off the pace of Darryl Hurley just a little bit, but he's all by himself back there in third. He doesn't have any of the other key players like your Matt Moss, your Darryl King, those guys, or your Cody Cooper. They all got caught up in the first turn. So, bit of a chance for Jay to not have to worry about the pressure of other guys and just do your own thing. But it's also good to note that they've dropped Troy Carroll right off the pace, and TC was right up there in that first one.
Yeah, TC was riding well in that first one. Obviously, he's just content to stay where he is at the moment back there. The only rider really on the track that's making a move is Cody Cooper after that first corner crash. We don't know if he sustained any kind of small injury or not. With the size of that crash, I would assume he may be a little bit sore afterwards. There goes Lee Ellis now around the outside of Brent Landon. Cody Cooper now lines him up in about 7th place. So Cody has a lot of work ahead of him, but Cody is always used to coming from behind. He's always getting bad starts and works very hard at getting up there.
And we see Shane Metcalf come through. He is back there in 19th place, so obviously Metty got caught up a little bit in something there, and he's not quite where he would want to be. But Daniel Reardon comes through to put another lap down. Let's see what the gap is this time. Looks relatively similar, if not a little bit closer. We'll see the gap, the difference this time is 8.1. So Hurls has pulled it back about 0.3 of a second.
You could probably attribute that to the lap riders that Daniel Reardon has just gone through 3 in front of him for that lap around. So I would assume that the next lap around that he'll have a bit more of a lead over Darryl Hurley. Now Darryl Hurley has a strange line coming out of this corner in front of us. Stays right to the left on the edge of the tyres. Now he just flicked those tyres out onto the track. Hopefully they won't be coming to see him somewhere.
Well, Darryl Hurley always is the one that will find the creative lines out there, not necessarily just to find smoother lines, but also different passing opportunities. And as long as I've known Hurls, that's been one of the things that he does. We have a look here, and now Brent Landon has been passed by both Lee Ellis and Cody Cooper. Both of these guys out in that smooth line, but none of our race leaders have found a rider gone down over here. That looks to be Ford Dale. Just had a little crash and he has kept the bike going.
Ford Dale's had a very tough year. He's had a lot of bad luck and a few small crashes like that. Really just needs to find some form.
Tell you who I'm impressed with, Hammy. Lee Ellis finds himself in the mix in between Kate Mosig and Cody Cooper, the two No Fear Factory Honda riders, and he's just having a bit of fun out here. He's gone and borrowed a Honda off Konski and having a ball.
Well, mate, take your eyes back to it because he just passed the factory team rider of Mosig. The privateer of a weekend rider just come out, have a ride, borrow a bike, not even his, has gone around the factory rider of Mosig, and that is great to see.
Well, the way it all happened, he was having some dramas with the bike that he was on. I won't mention it, the bikes or whatever, but he was having a few dramas and he was a bit disillusioned with everything. He decided he didn't want to race anymore, and he ended up just borrowing a Honda and having a couple of practice sessions. And he was so happy riding the bike. He went, hey, I might go and do a couple of races. And look at him, this is like 3 or 4 weeks later.
It just goes to show how fast he can be. I mean, in his real form, true form, when he's fit and everything. I've had some great battles with him over the years in the motocross races. You know, we have come together more than once and been able to get straight off the bike and laugh and talk about it. You know, he's a great competitor when you go out on the track. He won't do anything dirty, but you know, you cannot leave the door open. He is a very forceful rider when he wants to be.
Well, Lee Ellis has moved himself up into 5th place. Top 5 finish. That is unbelievable that he has got company with Cody Cooper. They've dropped Kate Mosig off the back. And Brent Landman has just been passed by Dean Porter on the KTM.
Well, you've got to admit it, Lee, there's a lot of the good top riders up there, but this has really been the year of the privateers. There are so many privateers out there doing so well in all the classes that it's really making some of the factory riders have to think about what they're doing and really step it up.
Well, that's for sure. Nathan Brocktrop all over the back of Brent Landman, just reeled him in about 2 seconds in one section just here. And I think it's only a matter of time before we see him go past the Victorian of Brent Landman.
Nathan Brocktrop is absolutely a fitness freak. You should see the way this guy trains. He works so hard in between races. And, you know, he does this basically off his own bat. He's out there privateer. He has the help from Access Motorsport up in Cardiff, but really it's all his own deal, and he does very well at it.
So the gap moves out to 10 seconds between Daniel Reardon and Daryl Hurley. Nonetheless, it is not a major difference between these two guys. Once again, Jay Marmont comes through and looking so much better today than I've seen him in past races.
But it's also unfortunate that we don't have the likes of Craig Anderson, now Matt Moss, all those other ways, the big riders, Shane Boyd, all the riders that we expect to be out there out injured or just sitting around home at the moment. And, it's a shame that there's not more depth in this field.
I would love to see Boydie out here. This was his year. He was doing such a good thing. Obviously, it was Daniel Reardon's year. He's the one that's been on fire, and it was all supposed to happen for him. But the next closest one to Reardon was Boydie, and would have been great to see him uninjured, but I guarantee we'll see more of Boydie by the end of the year.
And if they keep going and falling off like they are and getting out the track, maybe we should be out there and have a ride again. I'd say we'd be able to get top 5, eh?
No, you're not going to see me with any gear on.
Wow, something going on there with Cody Cooper. I don't know what he was doing there with his left hand. It almost looked like he was trying to wipe his grip as if he'd gone down, and he hasn't gone down. He's still there in front of Lee Ellis. But something definitely playing on the mind of Cody Cooper as he went past us that time around.
Well, we know when he had a crash in that first turn, he was holding his arm. He wasn't feeling 100%. I thought with how he was holding it that he'd broken it for sure. As Daniel Reardon puts another lap down on his factory Kawasaki. Back, a little bit squirrely through there. The Cowie hasn't been handling that good through that little section. It's what I've seen throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, but in saying that, there's not many bikes that do handle that great. Although, you know what, the Suzuki hasn't looked that great all year long, but then through that section it's looked really good. So, maybe there's some different combinations there these guys need to work on a bit to get them things working. But generally, the Kawasaki has looked great all year long.
Well, it's known amongst most of our peers as pretty much one of the bikes to be on. Oh, very, very big moment. A rider nearly going down in a big way, and I'm trying to make out who that was, but it was nearly exactly the same as what Jake Moss did in the earlier event. Well, we've just reached the 20-minute mark. 10 minutes to go plus 1 lap. Still plenty of race time for these guys. Cody Cooper has pulled out a little bit of a lead now over Lee Ellis, but still, what a good ride from Lee Ellis.
There is Dale coming across the finish line. Again, we mentioned it that time around. Well, once again, Daryl Hurley has closed in the gap. Only a small amount from Daniel Reardon, but again, Reardon has had to contend with a few lap riders that last lap around. We look back a little further to Jay Marmont and the KTM, still looking very strong back there. And then a very long way back behind them, a quarter of a lap almost, I would think. Detroit Carroll, the Cool Air rider on the Suzuki. Cody Cooper, the Honda rider, in behind him, and that's closing up a little bit, but it's still quite a large gap between these two riders. If he wants to get up there, he's going to have to do quite a lot of work. Only 10 minutes or so, maybe a little less of this race to go. Cooper's, Troy Carlos should say, probably has this position pretty safe.
That's just such a smooth line where Cody Cooper went there. The amount of energy you would have to save every lap from going through there.
Lee Ellis also finding it. I'm amazed that Reardon and Hurley hadn't found that line.
Out of anyone, you would expect these guys to find them, but especially Hurley, you would expect to see him out there on those better lines. You look back over to the start line, and crossing the start line is our leader once again, the Kawasaki of 122. We've seen it plenty of times, but Daniel Reardon is really controlling this race. Coming around, probably within the next lap or so, to put a lap once again on Ford Dale. Here is Darryl Hurley, the by-4 Suzuki rider, coming through, right through the centre of those rough bumps once again.
There's a lot of positives to be taken for Jay Marmont and the KTM today. You've got to be able to just chip away at these little dramas, and this is definitely a massive improvement from what we've seen from Jay so far this year. And we're only just reaching the halfway point of the series. Still plenty of races to go. Through comes Troy Carroll. Well, Cody Cooper is making a big charge. He's not too far now off the back of Troy Carroll, and no doubt TC would know that the Honda rider is coming. Through comes Cade Mosick on the No Fear Honda machine. Young 18-year-old doing pretty much his apprenticeship year in the Pro Open. And we look back to the corner, number 30.
Well, there's Daniel Reardon coming to the finish line again. We saw Daniel Reardon have a bit of a reality check at Conondale round earlier this year. Reardon seemed unstoppable, on fire, and looked like nothing could possibly go wrong for him. At Conondale, Moto number 2 had a massive moment, dropped him right back through the pack to 28th position. By the end of the race, he was in 4th. But as we said earlier, the only person really that can beat Daniel Reardon, besides Chad Reed, is Daniel Reardon. He's the only one that can make himself have a mistake, put himself on the ground. It looks like to be a much smarter ride this time, not pushing it over the top and making any kind of silly mistakes.
Well, Carl Pickersgill's gone down in this tricky right-hander after the finish line area. He's back up and going again, but that is not a good place to crash. Not a bad ride at all for Brent Landman, who now finds himself in 9th place in his first ride back from injury. Has made his way up past Brent Landman, and a little bit of a bobble for Cade Mosick, and if Riley Graham keeps charging the way he has moved his way up to 9th place now. 8th place is not out of the question. Great job on very tough conditions. The track is so treacherous, the holes are huge. Quite possibly one of the roughest tracks that we have seen so far.
And just a quick reminder to everyone, there's no one to be on the track after this race. If you're thinking of going out there and grabbing a sign, you will be caught by the security. And I would hate to think what those security guys may do to you if you are caught. So no one is allowed on the track after this race. Also, if you're thinking about coming out here to have a ride tomorrow, do not even bother. The track is closed. There is no way you'll be able to get out here and have a ride afterwards. Here is Daniel Reardon now coming across the start line for the second last time. He will receive the last lap board, this time over the finish line. in the one corner was one of the most impressive moves I've seen. Well, not just all year, in a fair few years. That was quite a treat to see that pass that he did on both those riders.
As Daniel Reardon comes through, just a couple of seconds away from putting a lap down on Brent Landon. What a race it has been. We have seen carnage in the first turn. We've seen some unbelievable riding from both Daniel Reardon and Daryl Hurley, who by no means has been disgraced here today, Damon Howe.
Hurley's had a much better ride. All the Hurley that we used to see. Just needs to get that little bit more to run up there, a little bit of intensity early on to run that pace with Daniel Reardon. I'm sure he can find it. Just has to go home, do a little bit more homework, and he should be able to run up there. Here is Troy Carroll in 4th place on the Suzuki. He now receives the last lap board. Another great ride for him. Cody Cooper coming across now. And Coop off the side of the track.
And the back wheel sucked in all that blue Yamaha ribbon, which Pip won't be too happy with.
Well, there is Daniel Reardon now coming past the mechanics area.
Through comes Kate Mosington, no fear Honda rider. Still got a little bit of a gap there back to Dean Porter, the West Australian rider, number 30 on the KTM. And here he is, Daniel Reardon, to take a sensational victory here in Moto 2.